And we are live on another edition of the K&K Sports Show, Wednesday. What is today? The 12th of January, 2022. Not sure how this show is going to go tonight because a couple events, good things, bad things this weekend with us as fans of some shows. So I'm going to start with Mr. Paul Rosen tonight. How are you, Paul?
Doing well, guys. Good evening, everyone. Glad to be back again on K and K, and looking forward to a great evening. A lot of interesting events happening since Sunday and Saturday, so into this week. So it should be one exciting show.
Absolutely. I'll go next. And you could, I don't know if you guys can't tell, but the audience can tell. I got rid of my K&K background and I got the Invesco Field, the Broncos Stadium behind me because I'm super pumped up. Gonna have a new coach, gonna have a new owner, gonna have a new quarterback. We'll talk about that later, but I am super pumped up and excited for what's coming for the Broncos next. Mr. Kirkpatrick, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing well as always, and just like you guys said, it's crazy. Uh, we're all in the off season. We're not in the playoffs, but we're all excited that we lost our coaches and we're starting fresh. So we're all in the same boat, the four of us. I wish one of us was in the playoffs, but next year. There's always next year.
Absolutely. And last but not least, and I don't know, I'm just going to say this. One of my quick hitters, I'm going to give Mr. Beelan some advice tonight, and that's going to be what is it? How do you say it? Don't poke the, what is it?
Oh, yeah.
Don't poke the bear. Don't poke the bear tonight,
right.
Beelan. Don't poke the bear. But Mr. Siciliano, coming off of a rough loss Monday night, but he's still repping the Bama hat. Mr. Siciliano, how are you tonight?
I'm good. Again, hats off to Georgia. They were the better team on Monday night. No excuses, but let's face facts. We had two starting defensive backs down and no wide receivers. So, again, hats off to them.
All right, couple comments right out of the gate. Our really good friend Henry Zimenoff. Well, and I'm pumped up about this, Henry. Well, let the bidding begin on the Broncos ownership whenever it's going to start. Henry's also says, anyway, the MLB and the MLBPA are expected to conduct another meeting about agreeing to the new CBA tomorrow, in which it has to be made by early March. That is that. Then he goes on to say, failure for that in games will be lost big time, and we could have another shortened season.
We got to invite Henry on the show. He was with us last year for the draft show that Carson and I did. But Henry's like a great, like you watch the news, and he's that guy that's the co-anchor. He's the anchor right there. He's got that news stories ready to roll.
He does.
He's
awesome.
He'd be a good guy to put up on a news station, and we'll have our K news stories.
Absolutely.
Always great knowledge, and very knowledgeable person. We always appreciate you. Appreciate your comments at the beginning of our shows, Henry.
And Kenny, and this is the comment you three guys are going to like from our good friend Eddie Murphy. Gettleman and Judge are gone. It's a great day. LOL.
It's a great day, Eddie. That's right.
There you go.
We got a lot to talk about tonight, and that's one of the things, I'm sure.
All right, Mr. Kirkpatrick. So we turn over the show to you. You always come up with your good agenda. So wherever you want to go,
right.
we'll go.
We got a good agenda tonight. We're going to cover a lot of different sports. We each got some segments for you. We got some topics. I think we like to start the show off often, and we're going to start tonight's show off with Kurt's quick hitters to get the show really, really rolling. He likes to get these fast-paced questions, puts us on our toes, and I think I'm ready to roll with that. So I think we're going to start with quick hitters tonight, fellas.
Henry's saying, I usually see the most intriguing sports headlines and commenting on which ones to tell you, but I thank you for the compliment. Absolutely, Henry. Thank you for always interacting with us.
Absolutely.
All right, so you ready for some quick hitter, guys?
Yes, let's do some quick hitters.
All right. I'm going to start with Paul. I'm going to go Paul, Sis, and Kenny throughout the night, okay? All right. Number one, Paul, which NFL favorite this week is on or should be on upset alert?
Well, that was going to be part of my wild card weekend, but I'm going to tell you right off the bat, I think the Bengals. That to me is the best game. There's going to be one upset. Looking at all the games, I think the Raiders have a very legitimate chance, using the momentum from Sunday to beat the Bengals. So I think the Raiders.
Okay. Sis, which NFL favorite this weekend is going to be should be on upset alert?
Dallas Cowboys.
Okay, I agree with you on that one, sis. That's mine. Kenny.
I agree with Paul and Sis. I'm going to throw another one out there, and that's Buffalo Bills. You
Okay.
got to respect Belichick. So that would be my third one. I'll throw another one out there. Patriots.
Okay. Eddie Murphy saying, and Kurt and I started seeing more tweets about that Kyrie thing I sent you about, so it might be legit. I did see that a couple things today on that. Eddie's picking the Steelers to beat KC. Guys,
Wow,
it's a big one.
I'll tell you what, though, real quick. I know we're in quick hitters. The 49ers not only going to beat the Cowboys. I agree with Sis. 49ers are going to be dangerous in this playoffs.
Yes.
Not just a 1 week wonder. This might be your wild card team to make some noise with an outside long shot chance of the Super Bowl.
Richie Katwicka. What's up, boy? On Coach Rich.
Happy New Year, Rich. Good to see you.
Henry's also saying the Manning cast curse went unbeaten on Sunday after the Lions took down the Packers, by the way. That is another curse that everyone that came on, they lost that week. Rodgers was on last week. Eddie's saying it's going to be a high of 0 degrees in Buffalo this weekend.
Wow.
You better run the ball.
That's a huge advantage to Buffalo. Huge.
Okay, here we go. Paul, will Georgia repeat next year as college football champions?
No.
Sis.
No.
Kenny.
I'm going to agree with Sis and Paul. No.
All right, I'm going to come right back to college football, Paul. Right now, for the 2022 national championship, for the champion, would you take anybody in the SEC or the field? Anybody out? And you could take anybody in the whole SEC or everybody else in college football. I'll start this one off. I am 1,000% taking the SEC. Paul, who you taking?
I got to go along with that. I mean, it's absolutely.
Sis, SEC or the field?
No brainer.
Kenny.
You're giving me the whole SEC. I'm going to take the SEC, but I'm going to tell you this. Barring any major injuries, Alabama will be your national champion next year.
Okay. Richie saying, sorry to say, I'm not hopeful for my Patriots this weekend, but if anyone can put together a scheme to beat the Bills, it's Coach Hoodie. So, best coach in the tournament still, right? He's still the best coach in the tournament.
There's some noise going on over there. Gerard Mayo getting a lot of talk about interviews and stuff. So hopefully that's not, a distraction over there for the Patriots. And I'm pulling for the Patriots, actually.
All right. Last night, Baylor lost to Texas Tech. They are no longer undefeated. With their loss, Paul, should Gonzaga now go back to being number one team in the country?
Probably. Again, it's still so early in the college basketball season. But, yeah, I would say Gonzaga should be number one after this week.
Sis, Gonzaga, should they go back to number one after Baylor lost?
I agree with Paul. Again, it's so early in the season. I'm going to say no. Leave Baylor where they are. It's one game.
Kenny.
You want to flip-flop? I'm okay with that. So I'll say yes. Give it back to Gonzaga this week.
But it doesn't really mean anything.
It's still early in the it doesn't mean much. Just give it to Gonzaga.
Paul, will Saturday night be Big Ben's final game?
I had it in my notes.
I'm sorry. Sunday night.
Yeah. My notes, I reflected by saying Big Ben's last stand. So, yes, it will. I think Kansas City is just too strong for the Steelers.
Sis, is it over for Big Ben on Sunday night?
Yeah, 12.5 favorite. Yeah, Big Ben's in trouble, and so the Steelers.
Kenny?
Big Ben's done. It's time. I mean, Rivers and Eli were in that same draft, and they retired a couple of years.
So they lose, though. Kansas City beats them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kansas City's going to beat them.
All right.
Shed.
Paul, the Chicago Bulls are in first place in the East. Are they a legit threat to win the East come playoff time?
I don't think they'll wind up finishing first. But once they get to the playoffs, I think they have a legitimate chance of going far. So I would say yes, but they won't finish in first place.
Sis, so the Bulls are a legit threat to win the East.
Nope, the New York Knicks are. They're going to shock everybody.
Music to our ears. Mr. Kirkpatrick, are the Bulls legit?
I'm going to say yes, not on, just by what they have on paper now, yes. If they make a move at the deadline, watch out. You still got Ben Simmons out there looking to go somewhere, but they're going to remind me of, they could be this year's Atlanta Hawks.
All right. This is one of my favorite questions of the night. Eddie Murphy saying, I think the Bucks will finish first if Nets don't shape up. A lot of we're going to get into coaching changes. There's a lot of names. You got the Dan Quinns, the Flores. You got, the Green Bay guys. Everybody's pretty much putting in the same amount of names to talk to everybody. But I'll go first on this one. I want you guys to name a coach that isn't on anybody's radar, that you have not heard is going to interview for anybody's team, that you would interview for your opening. Mine is Mike Shanahan. He still got it. Hey, listen, he still does all the stuff with Kyle. He's still part of that, helping the thing out. I would interview the real Shanahan coach, and that's Mike. Give me somebody, Paul, that nobody's talking about that you would be like, I want to talk to him.
Boy, that's a damn good question. Come
back to Paul.
Come back to me.
All right, sis, you got one?
Think about it a second.
Yeah, this is one that you got.
And I hope we get this guy, and I love him. He's a great coach. Players love him, knows X's and O's, knows how to organize. Mr. Jim Caldwell. That's who I want.
All right, that's a good one. That's a good one.
That's what
I knew Sis would go there.
Kenny,
I got a name that's really off the radar. He's doing really. I like him in. I love the guy. They had a bad year in the NFC East. I'm talking about Washington's defensive coordinator, Jack Del Rio. I don't know. I'm not saying head coach, maybe defensive coordinator. I would love that guy on my team. I always love Jack Del Rio.
David Slade, what's going on, Dave, from the Rocky Mountain Sports Report?
Rocky Mountain Sports Network.
Network. I'm sorry.
Report. It's always, I know. I'm joking with you.
Before I get to Paul, he's throwing out a name where, listen, last year, the last 2 years, everybody's all over this guy. And I haven't heard boo about him so far, and that's Iowa State's Matt Campbell. Nobody has said anything about Iowa State's Matt Campbell this year.
Can I throw one more name out? You guys, please, everybody out there, please check out Dave, Matt, Keith, 4th and 99. The guys do a great Broncos show and NFL show on Wednesday nights. Our time, it starts 8:30. You can put both of us, one of us on the big screen, one of us on the TV. But actually, I'm going to hold it off. I'm going to bring in Beelan. Beelan's in the waiting room. You guys mind if Beelan comes in?
No.
He had a guy, and I think he has a point here. He had a guy, and I think I want you to ask him this question about a coach. Well, he's not there, so I'll take his name. He said Todd Monken should get some noise for coach.
All right.
Do you think because of his performance in Georgia? I think it might be a little too soon for him, but
he's never been a head coach, has he?
No, that's what I'm saying. But he mentioned him, and I was like, that's a name nobody's mentioned.
Yeah.
There he is.
Real quick, what's up, Mr. Beelan? Couple things real quick before I get to Paul. Eddie Murphy, rumors of Knicks trading for Cam Reddish I seen today. And Murphy saying, I've always wanted Cower as head coach, but I don't know if he would fit in today's football for some reason. Paul, you got a name.
Yeah. A guy that I mentioned, I think, to you guys a while ago, but I'm not hearing his name again. Wink Martindale, the Baltimore.
Yes.
I got
defensive
one.
coordinator.
Yeah, I think I might have stole your thunder because I told him who you were talking about.
Oh.
Go ahead. Monken?
Monken.
Yeah.
Either Monken or Jesus.
I'm so glad Beelin's on now because my final question, I'll get to it in a second, but this
All
might
right,
be
let
my
me-
favorite question.
I want to come to Kurt with one question. Nobody else answer this.
Okay.
Okay.
Excluding Brian Flores
Yes.
for your Broncos, you want Kellen Moore from Dallas, who's an offensive coordinator.
Okay.
Todd Bowles from Tampa Bay, who's a defensive coordinator.
Okay.
Josh Daniels, New England offensive coordinator. Doug Peterson, who's been out of football. Brian Leftwich for the Bucks offensive coordinator. Brian DeBoer, Bills offensive coordinator. Jim Harbaugh, Jim Caldwell.
I'll be
those
honest.
guys-
I'll be honest. One, Flores, I tell you, a lot of people are saying this, and we'll get into the coaching thing, but the Flores, I listened to this guy. He's the best Denver insider. He says Denver
No,
has...
you can't. You can't pick him.
No. He's saying Denver has zero interest in Flores. They said he has major problems communicating with players, and they're saying he's
Really?
not going to be
Wow.
getting a lot of looks.
They
Personally,
said him and Tua got into it.
yeah, him and
over
Tua
the
got into it.
season.
I want either two things. I want one of the Green Bay guys. I either want one of the Green Bay connections, Hackett, or the quarterback coach, or I want Quinn with one of those guys as OC. I want the Green Bay guys to run, because when we get Rodgers, they run their offense with Rodgers.
That was one of my questions for you, but
We'll get to that later. All right, I'll be real quick. Two more real quick. All right. Who would be a better owner for the Denver Broncos? There's going to be 6 bids. One bid's putting in with Elway's group. One's putting in with Peyton's group. Who would be a better owner, Paul, for Denver, Manning or Elway?
I think Manning. I think, it's come out in the last few weeks that they've been seeing about possibility about buying a franchise. So I think they're gearing up, and I think Peyton would be an unbelievable owner.
Yep, David Slade, too, is saying the Manning group. I agree with you guys. I mean, listen, I love Elway. He's my favorite player of all time. Best Bronco ever. But, I mean, Peyton Manning is ownership. Listen, you're not going 7-10. He's not going to let it happen. And people are going to flock to play for this guy. And they got to get that done. Sis, Manning or Elway, better owner?
Manning, bring in him as the head coach and his brother as the offensive coordinator.
But they're going to be part of the deal. Beelan, Manning or Elway?
Manning.
Kenny, you going to sweep the board?
Yeah, I'm gonna sweep the board. You just gotta go with Manning in that one.
All right, and I got 2 more. My first one. Well, I'm not going to answer this one. Beelan's not going to answer this one. Paul, what was your reaction when you found out Joe Judge was fired?
Well, funny that you should say that, because you guys know that I'm into music and all of that. Well, I made a list of songs that would reflect Joe Judge being fired. Okay, quick. Beat It, Jive Talking, You're No Good, It's All Over Now, Celebration, At Last, Dancing in the Street, What a Fool Believes, and my final favorite one, Another One Bites the Dust. That's
Mr. Sis, I know you were going to make an announcement on the show tonight.
Which I was, and I'll make it now, I was definitely jumping to the Denver Broncos to start.
No!
Oh, yes, I was.
He was gonna.
I was. That's not a lie. Nope. If that didn't happen yesterday, I'd be wearing a Denver Bronco hat tonight. And the thing I want to thank Matt Staffiero and Dave, they said to me, Sis, they text me, we would still welcome you with open arms to Denver. But now that Mr. Judge is gone, and to answer Kurt's question, I was beyond ecstatic when Judge got canned. Beyond.
Eddie Murphy saying it was an early birthday gift for me, and that's not till March. Kenny, what was your reaction?
Well, Sis texted me, and first thing I did, I was like, did Sis read, this wrong? Like maybe it was a joke, and he didn't realize at the end it's a joke that he got fired. But no, I saw ESPN, Joe Judge fired, Ian Rappaport. So I was like, oh, time to text Paul. I texted Paul, and he's like, no way. I knew he was working. So that was my reaction. But Dave and Matt, I got to thank you guys as well because you guys were giving up a lot of draft capital to get me and Sis because I was coming over to the Bronco Nation too for 1 year
God.
on a 1 year deal.
God.
But Paul, it was only on a 1 year deal. It was only on a 1 year deal, and they were going to welcome me, no hand. So they were going to give up all that draft capital to bring me in for 1 year. So I truly appreciate it.
You're gonna leave me. You're gonna leave me floating.
No, and I was going to think about following.
The cheese stands alone.
I was going
Oh,
to
you
hang
would
out
have
with
been.
Carson.
You would have been all by yourself, pal.
Oh my God!
All
I
right,
was
so
going to
here's
hang out
my
with Carson in Detroit.
guys. Here's
I
my
was that.
last question, and I'm not going to answer it. I'm going to go in specific order. I'm going to go Paul, Kenny, Sis, and then Beelan can talk. But my question is, and I don't know Mr. Beelan's thinking, but if Mr. Beelan is thinking about coming on tonight and talking trash to Sis about the Alabama loss, Paul, what would your words of advice be to Mr. Beelan right now?
Well, we use that poke the bear. I would say, listen, he's gonna have you come over and cut his grass using your mouth. So I would be very careful.
Mr. Kirkpatrick, any words of advice for Mr. Beelan?
I would say, Beelan, you might want to shave your beard now because if Sis gets a hold of that beard, watch out. He's coming after you.
And you know what? and let's just get the word right from the guy's mouth. Mr. Sis, before Beelan says anything, any warnings to Mr. Beelan tonight?
Hide your wife and children.
Eddie Murphy saying, Beelan, you're lucky that you and Sis are in different households right now. All right, go ahead, Mr. Beelan. What do you got for him?
Listen, me and Sis had good conversations. There was nothing bad.
Absolutely.
We were talking all game about it, even afterwards.
Yep.
It's unfortunately it's either they had no juice in the fourth quarter or it was just I don't know. They just I don't know. Bennett just came up,
Not to get into we'll get into the game a little. We'll get into the game a little later and break it down. We'll break it down. We'll get everybody's thoughts on it a little later.
Kenny, real quick, couple of comments. Eddie Murphy saying Kenny can go be a Bronco fan. He wanted the Giants to sign Mitch Trubisky. And David Slade is saying you are still welcome, Kenny, by the way. I wish Sis didn't leave for a second because
hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. One thing. For some reason, not for some reason, but since we've added Matt and Dave and all these guys from the
Rocky
the
Mountain
show,
Network, yeah.
I'm part of their group, and I swear to you, I see more complaints by Bronco fans than Jets and Giant fans.
There's no complaints. I'm happy as hell. We're getting a new owner, new quarterback, a new head coach, and OC.
They can't even. I forget one guy's name on there. He might even be on here tonight. Scott Cole, who says he wants Brian Leftwich. The dude is nobody without Tom Brady. Nobody. Why would you want a guy as a head coach?
I know Scott. Scott's part of the 4th and 99 Rocky Mountain crew. We'll give him a chance to come on and
why would you want a guy who has credibility?
Yeah, let's give Scott a chance to come on our show.
Beelan, we got to set up with the Rocky Mountain guys. We got to do an off-season Bronco talk. We got to do it.
We are.
We got to do it.
I'm in the works.
We got to do
Dave.
it. I want to
work something out. Yep.
It's just mind-boggling.
All right, real quick. Sis, you ready for this one? Because you're going to fall off your seat. I know the one thing where you wanted to ban Kenny is because he said he wanted Mitch Trubisky, right? That was the one thing. But the second thing he said that night was who he wants as head coach is Doug Peterson. And today it came out like Vegas odds came out, and the favorite for the Giant job is Doug Peterson.
No way.
Yes, he is.
No way.
Yes, he is.
I didn't realize he was a favorite.
Doug Peterson.
He was like
Man.
he was like 4-1. It was like 4. It was all close, but he was on top. And I saw that. I said, "Oh God, I gotta get it. I gotta tell Sis that."
He's not a bad head coach, man.
No, he's not. I agree, John. I agree.
He won a
what
Super
better way to
Bowl.
stick it to the Eagles?
Yeah.
What better way to stick it to the Eagles?
Yeah, he's been in that NFC East. I mean, he has the pelt.
and he's an ex-quarterback. He understands the offensive side of the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, Paul and Sis, Daniel Jones is going to have at least some competition if Doug Peterson comes in. At the
Oh,
very
yeah.
least, he'll have a
They'll bring in Nick Foles.
Nick Foles.
Yeah.
Again, that kid is not the future of the Giants. Sorry.
Exactly. I know.
Yeah.
We know that, sis. We know that.
All right,
I agree
Mr.
with you.
Kirkpatrick. So whatever you want next, that's done.
Well, that was great, Kurt. That was a great way to start the show. Let's get into wild card weekend, fellas. So I will go around the panel and give you guys each one game to analyze, and then after you guys analyze it for a minute or two, we'll make a pick on the game. And then after we pick these games, we'll pick our AFC, NFC championship and Super Bowl matchup that we think it's going to happen.
Kenny, real quick, I got to get two more comments. Eddie Murphy saying only way to stick it to the Eagles is if we can win a Super Bowl. And David Slade is saying if you get Doug Peterson, you can get Carson Wentz. The Colts will not commit to Wentz. I saw that today, Dave.
Yeah.
And the
I read
Colts
that
are
too.
not. They're done with him. Done.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Dave. That's a good point.
But do we want Carson Wentz?
I think I'd rather have Nick Foles.
No. We don't.
I don't think so either.
Nope.
There's somebody to compete with Daniel Jones, though.
Let's not go backwards. No.
Right. I
Plus, if they're running an RPO, that type of offense, you're not going to get Carson Wentz as
Kenny, you're not part of the Giants personnel.
Hold on. Trust me. The Giants can't get anybody because they don't have money.
The cap space, you said that.
But we're adding cap space this year, $40 million.
I agree, John. You're right, John.
We'll see.
No.
We'll see. We'll get into that in a little bit. But I want to get into wild card weekend. I'm going to give Paul the first game to talk about for a minute or two. Then I'm going to go around the table and see who you guys like in this game.
Ooh, hold on real quick because this is good. Kenny Douglas is calling out this one. You ready? Giants should give Spagnuolo the job.
None of us mentioned that.
Why not? You saw what he did with KC. He's a giant guy. He did it. He can handle New York.
Don't you think they would have done that before Schumer or Judge?
Yeah.
They should have, but why not
no,
now?
I'm saying, don't you think they should have done it back then?
Yes, they should have done it, but why not now? You saw what the guy did.
Again,
he's the new general manager. Unless, I know they're interviewing what's his name from Kansas City. Maybe he would bring in a guy like Spagnuolo.
That's a great call.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I listen before you get into your thing, because both of you guys are looking for head coaches and stuff like that. I think you need to determine on what you.
I got to sorry because when Bobby Blackjack puts this comment, he's throwing some flair at Sis, Kenny. I don't believe this. He's saying no one got Sis a new hat for Christmas.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's good at talking, hiding behind in the background. That's one thing I like about Bobby. Got a fired up.
This is a fired up show tonight.
Hey guys,
and guys, real quick, Bobby Carson is saying have a good show tonight. So what's going on,
Carson? We'll catch up with you. I know you're going to. Best of luck tomorrow. We will miss you tomorrow, and I'll be in touch with you. Okay. We'll all be in touch with you.
And Bobby's only joking. He said, come on, fellow pirate. He wants you in a Seton Hall hat.
Trust me, I'm not a fellow pirate of his. No way.
I'm glad I'm not insisting.
Hey, guys, when's the last time a Jets fan had more clout than Giants and Denver Bronco fans?
I know.
Guys, let's get into wild card weekend. We got about an hour left in the show.
Hold up, Kenny. When you attack me, I'll eat you and I'll spit you out. Remember that.
Get him. Hey, I'm out of this one. I learned my lesson years ago. Sis knows that.
No Bama bad talk tonight.
No.
Exactly.
No way.
All right, I'm just trying to read the comments.
I wish Sis good luck. Sis knows I called him up.
Again, there's no need for it. Georgia beat them fair and square, and it's time to move on. The game's over.
And I told Sis, win or lose, I'm calling you after the game, and we're going to talk a little bit about it. And Sis was a man. They lost, and I'm not a Georgia fan, but we talked for a few minutes. I was at work. We talked about the game.
No 57-6 text
no
this week, which is good. That's good.
No excuses. Sis was a man.
Thielen was very respectful.
No, and Bobby makes a great point because Bobby's point here is very valid because I could say the same thing about a couple other things. Just like this. He said, my hatred for Nick Saban runs deep, sis. It's nothing personal. And listen, that's me with Tom Brady, me with some other players. I just will never root for him, root against him.
You with Tom Brady?
Oh, yeah.
You with Tom Brady?
Well, I know, but I'm just saying. Well, I've had some AFC
I'm
titles.
really not.
You guys should have beaten the Bucks.
I'm really not mad at
Let's-
Bobby.
let's
I'm
go.
not really mad at Bobby.
Let's get into
don't come at me when it comes to Alabama, Bobby.
let's get into wild card weekend. I'm gonna go round the horn here. Saturday, 4:30. 5-seed Raiders are traveling to the 4-seed Bengals. Two surprising teams who you would have never thought would have made the playoffs. Nonetheless, the Bengals winning the division, but even just making the playoffs, hats off to both teams. I'm going to give this game to Paul to analyze in about a minute or two.
Okay.
About a minute. Let's do about a minute on these games because we're behind. And then we'll get our official picks for this game around the horn.
As I mentioned earlier, I think the Raiders are going to use the momentum that they built after winning last Sunday. I think they're going to go into Cincinnati. I mean, as good as Cincinnati has played this year, they won the division. They're still a young team. I think the Raiders can go in. I like Carr. I think I mentioned a few weeks ago, if the Giants were going to look for a new quarterback, he might have been someone that would have been on my list. I think there's going to be at least one upset in this weekend, and in my mind, that's going to be the game. So I think the Raiders have a very legitimate chance to go in and beat them. And I think from my perspective, I think the Raiders can come away with the win against the Bengals.
Couple comments. David Slade's picking the Bengals, and Kenny Douglas is saying the Bengals will put up 50 on that Raider defense.
All right, give us your 20-second response to Paul and give us your pick.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree. I'm going to go Bengals. But this is the only thing that scares me is because I do not believe in that. He better not come out throwing 50 times. They better run the ball with Mixon. Be balanced because I don't trust their defense either. But I'll take the home field. I think the crowd will be a little fired up, but Raiders are tough, man. Raiders are physical. But I'm going to take the Bengals. I'll take the Bengals, but I don't like the game either way. I can see the Raiders.
Yeah, we're not doing point spreads.
Okay.
The Blitz and Wagers parts tomorrow, but just to pick the game, I'm going to go with the Bengals, but I'm not. This is probably my least confident pick out of the group, but I'm going to go Bengals in this one. Beelan, Bengals and Raiders real quick, 15, 20 seconds.
Listen, I'll just give you my pick. It's just the Bengals. I think the Bengals by like 7 probably.
And Sis, Bengals or Raiders this week?
Yeah, you're not going against Joey Burrows here. The Raiders, nah, no way. Joey Burrows and the Bengals.
David Slade saying Joey being that 3-headed monster.
So 4-1 and Dave, pretty much 5-1 with Dave. Bengals over Raiders. Let's move to 8:15 Saturday. Got an AFC matchup. Third time these teams are meeting. It's going to be a good one. Patriots, Bill Belichick are traveling to Buffalo, and the temperature Kurt mentioned earlier, I think somebody mentioned it was going to be 0 degrees. I'm going to give this one to Beelan in a minute or less since he's the AFC East guy.
Yeah, I don't think the weather is going to be a real big factor because they both play in cold areas. I mean, Buffalo is a little bit more colder, but they both play in cold, super cold areas. I think it's going to come down to the running game, honestly. And lately, the Bills have been okay, a little bit better, but still a little iffy. But I'm gonna pull with the Bills by like a field goal on this one. I think they're gonna sneak by. I don't know. I don't trust Josh Allen still.
I'm going to agree with you, Beelan, on Josh Allen. I don't trust him, and I think Bill Belichick, third time you give him a chance to meet up with a team on the other side, it's like, I don't know. I got a funny feeling the Patriots are going to pull this one out, so I'm going to go Patriots here.
Kenny, Dave's going Patriots too.
Dave's going Patriots. Let's go to Sis.
Again, I think everybody's going back 20 years on Belichick and everything. I think this is the end of the tour for Belichick. I really do. I really think the other team's better.
Gotcha. So you're going Bills with Beelan, okay?
Oh yeah, they're again 20 below zero, and again I'm joking, but yep, Bills
Okay.
at home for sure. Yep.
Got it. Kurt.
You know what? Beelan hit it on the head. You better run the ball, Buffalo. They're another team. You know, Dave, the past couple weeks, just like Kansas City, there's no more Josh Allen throwing it 49 times a game. What are they doing? Lining up, run the ball, play a little defense, lower the score. But you better not get out because, listen, Belichick's going to have a plan. I'll tell you that. But Buffalo is busy. And if Buffalo loses this game, see, I think there's two teams this week. I think Dallas and Buffalo are the two teams where if they lose, it's an absolute disgrace and I would be making changes. You cannot lose a first-round game at home. And you know what? This is a scary one. I'm going to take Buffalo, but they better run the ball.
Okay. And Paul, round this one out.
Pat's back in playoffs. Belichick, Brady. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot Brady isn't with them anymore, and that's the problem. I think the Bills at home, Josh Allen, in my mind, while he is kind of iffy, I'm still going to take him over Mac Jones, and I think the Bills will run the ball just enough and beat the Pats.
That one was 4-2 in favor of Buffalo. Dave and I were on the Patriots. Let's move on to Sunday. I'm going to give Sis this game. It features the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the surprising Philadelphia Eagles, Sis, in as the 7th seed, and our boy Devontae Smith getting into the playoffs. This game's in Tampa Bay. Sis, give us your thoughts on it.
Yeah, what's the line? Like 12 and a half or something?
No, I think it's like 8.5.
I know you're going. I know you're not going on the lines, but again, you know, Tom Brady down a couple of weapons, but you can't go against him at home. I mean, the Eagles had a good season, but push comes to shove, I'm not going against Brady. No way.
I'm with you, Sis.
Tampa Bay. Yep.
I'm with you. I think Jalen Hurts is not the answer over there. They got to move on from that fast. I know he didn't play against Dallas, but I don't think Jalen Hurts is the guy there, especially with some weapons like we saw the Giants defense a few weeks ago.
Right.
Handle Jalen Hurts. So if they can find, you know, if they go a different route quarterback, they might have a bright future in my opinion, but I don't think they're there yet. I think this is easy for Tampa Bay. Paul.
I'm going to go along with Sis. I think, you know, you can't go against Brady, but I think it's going to be closer than we think it might be. And I think the Bucs pull it out at the end, but it's going to be, I think, about a 6-7 point game. That's my opinion, but the Bucs will win.
Okay, and Beelan.
Yeah, I mean, coming down the weather thing, it's supposed to rain really bad down there. So if it's sloppy, I don't know if you're going to see a lot of passing. So it means the running game, Bucs have some hurt people, but I think, like Paul said, it's going to be closer than people really think it is. So I'm still sticking with the Bucs though.
Kurt, round us off.
I just think this is where, you know, and hey, give Brady credit. They won the Super Bowl last year, but what won them that Super Bowl? The defense and the running game last year, right? Listen, that defense went into New Orleans and they beat Breeze. That defense went into Green Bay and they beat Rodgers. That defense went into the Super Bowl and they beat Mahomes. There's no way they're going to be at home. And Jalen Hurts will be running around, scrambling. He'll be something like, 16 for 40, and that defense will just eat them alive. And I'm going to go Tampa.
Tampa is banged up though on defense. They got a couple of people hurt. I agree. No, I agree with you. No, I don't.
Yeah.
By the way, Mr. Virilli saying, "What's going on, my friends? What's up, House?"
Mr. Virilli, we got to get in touch with you. We're working on. Congratulations for finishing second in fantasy
Mr. Virilli's
football.
going to get a nice little check.
We got a nice little check in the mail coming. We're going to work on that for you, buddy. Congratulations. All right.
So that coming off that foot surgery too, boys.
Yes. Good luck.
Speedy recovery, because I know you've been going through hell, but
good man.
Absolutely.
Yes, he is.
Guys, real quick, David Slade. Oh, sorry, Hal. Sorry, sis.
No, I coached him at Willie P. He's a great kid.
He said, really saying, thank you. Awesome. David Slade saying, have to run, guy. Great show as usual. My pick for Sunday late, Steelers in the upset because my wife is a Steeler fan.
There you go, Dave. Got to go with the wife.
go.
Smart man. Smart man.
Send us some of that chicken, Dave.
And all right, so that's a clean sweep for Tampa Bay. And I'm not surprised there. I'm going to give Kurt this game, and I just want to give it to him because I know I'm waiting to hear his analysis on this game. Sunday, 4:30, San Francisco 49ers travel to Dallas. Kurt.
I'm fired up.
The floor is yours.
Listen, taking the points, taking the outright. I'm going to be cheering like this game that it's a friggin' like almost a not a Bronco game, but a big game. I'm going to be fired up because it's still my boy Shanahan, and you know what they're going to do? You know what they're going to do. They're going to line up and say, inside zone left, inside zone right, stretch left, stretch right, little bootlegs, Jimmy Garoppolo, throw it 10 times. And what's Dallas going to do? Here's my only advice, Mr. Beelan. Dallas, play it the same way they're doing. Run Zeke and Pollard 40 times because if you let Dak, let him get in that gun throwing it, you're going to be home with me, you, Bridgewater, Daniel Jones, Zach Wilson. He's going to be home. And I'm going to say this right now. You're a $40 million quarterback. You cannot lose at home in a wild card game. If you do, that's why Mr. Josh Allen is number 2. But this guy, you better at least get to Lambeau in an NFC championship. Otherwise, you failed. And I'm telling you now, Sunday, Shanahan's coming, and they're going to run it. We'll see what Dallas got. But don't let Dak win it. Run it with them. San Fran beats them.
I'm going to go next. I'm taking San Fran not because I'm an NFC East guy. I think San Fran, and I said it at the beginning, Beelan, you weren't there. This team, I think, has a chance to win not only against Dallas, but win multiple games in this playoffs.
How come?
They are getting healthy at the right time.
But they run the rock, Kenny.
Run the ball. Garoppolo, okay, he's a little hurt on and off, but he's playing. Deebo Samuel's healthy. George Kittle's healthy. That team is ready, and they're getting healthy at the right time. And this is a bad matchup, in my opinion, for Dallas. So I'm going to take San Fran. Let's go to Beelan.
Against the number 1 defense in the NFL. Okay, I got you guys. I think you forget. I think this is Kurt's boy. I think you forget who's on the defense over there. Mike Parsons, Gregory, Van Bosch. Teams don't sleep on them. You can talk Dak all you want. And what do you say all the time about teams going into the playoffs? The hot hand goes into the playoffs, carries on, right? 2 50-point games in 3 games and in 3 different games. Dak's been on fire, okay? And he hasn't even been chucking the ball, really, okay? He had 5 in one game, 4 in another game. They've been running the ball. They've been so balanced throughout the past 5 games of the year. If you want to keep running the ball, that's fine. But you say all the time, because when they're down, what are they going to have to do? They're going to have to throw the ball. And what do you call Jimmy Garoppolo? He's a choke artist, right?
Yeah.
So keep choking. They're going to choke and choke and choke.
I hope personally, though, Kenny, real quick, I hope they win this week in a way because I want to see Dak go to Brady or Rodgers in a playoff game. That's when you just take your mortgages and go because you got to be joking. That's the biggest mismatch ever.
That's enough for that because we'll talk for 3 hours and we'll not get anything else in.
But Kurt, I don't know if you remember the first game of the season.
I don't care about the first. I'm talking postseason. This is when it matters. This is when you make your $40 million, not against the Eagles C team.
Kurt, I gave you the chance. Beelan to respond. Now it's time for Paul and Sis. If we got time at the end, we can do that on open agenda. Paul, Giants, 49ers, Cowboys.
As much as it pains me to say it, unfortunately, I don't have any faith in Garoppolo. I think the Cowboys are going to come out and try and prove that they are the best team in the NFC, and I think they're going to lay a big one on the 49ers. I really do. And I think Dak will have a good game. I think they're going to be able to utilize all of their weapons. I think they're going to shut down the 49ers. And unfortunately, I think the Cowboys are going to win the game.
And Mr. Siciliano, your thoughts on this real quick.
You know, it's funny. No one's brought up San Francisco is number 1 or number 2 in several categories: offensively, defensively, specialty teams, and they got the coach. That coach on the other side of the field, no way. Here's
Good
what
point,
I'm saying
sis.
about San Francisco. Ready? Watch my hands.
All in.
That's all I got to say.
Put it
That's
all
I
in,
gotta
Kurt.
say.
I hope you guys are right.
I
Couple
love it,
comments
sis.
from Virilli. Parsons is an absolute stud and only first year, absolutely. Virilli's picking the Cowboys. Defense alone can win if Dak doesn't turn the ball over.
That's a good point. All right, got
Or
two
go
more
with
games. Let's
defense,
do these quick. Let's do these quick because we got some segments we got to get to. Steelers Chiefs. I'll take this one real quick. Ben, last game Pittsburgh. Nope. We thought it was going to be a tie. Nope. The Chargers blew it, and in my opinion, they blew it, and they let the Raiders kick that field goal. So Ben gets another game. What's his reward? He gets to go to Kansas City again, and he's a big double-digit underdog. Chiefs are gonna, like Sis would say, woodshed. This is easy double digits in my opinion. I'm taking the Chiefs all day. Sis.
One word, woodshed.
Yeah. Paul.
They played each other a couple of weeks ago, and the Chiefs did woodshed them. I think it's going to be a little closer. Steelers are not going to win, of course. Chiefs will beat them, but maybe it'll be a 10-point game. But definitely Chiefs.
And Mr. Beelin.
One word, 2 syllables, woodshed.
Mr. Valenti, round it off.
Listen, Kansas City's going to win, but I mean, listen, this team reminds me of the old Baltimore teams where, they're going to play, they're going to play defense, I mean, listen, Tyreek Hill, that game's with the deep ball, all that stuff's over. Kansas City's a totally different team now. They run the ball and they throw the ball underneath. Teams are going to play them like that. And I give Kansas City credit because they have changed their whole philosophy. That's what they're going to do now. But listen, Kansas City, you're still a little skeptical. Can they stop the run? I think Sis's boy Najee Harris they should run him 30 times, keep the game low, and Big Ben make a couple plays. But Kansas City's still going to win. Verrilli's saying want Big Ben to win, but we will see. Chiefs looked like blank a few times this year, and you never know if COVID inactives pop up. So
Yeah, they looked blank at the beginning of the year before they went on a 10-game winning streak. So
They had that
But I
10-game win streak because they had to play the Broncos twice.
But no more,
and
but
Giants,
but no
and
more
Giants.
blowouts.
I'm saying
Oh,
Broncos
hey,
twice, Giants.
what was Sis and Paul? What was your picks for the Cowboys 49ers?
I picked the Cowboys.
Okay.
I took the 49ers. Yep.
Guys, talking
think-
about
They're not playing Washington this week.
talking about Cowboys, Manny DeLima saying good evening, fellas. What's up,
What's
Manny?
up, Manny? Good luck to you, Cowboys
Yes,
this week.
good luck this week.
Hey Kenny, one quick thing. I looked at the weather for the Sunday Buck game. It may rain a little, but the strong possibility it's going to be very, very windy, like 20 to 30 mile an hour wind gusts.
That
could
make-
affect more than the rain.
Where,
That
KC?
definitely can. Tampa.
Oh, Tampa.
In Tampa, yeah.
Last game. I wish Carson was here to analyze it. The struggling Arizona Cardinals Monday night. Hot Cardinals at the beginning of the year, struggling as of late, backdoored their way into the playoffs because of their big lead at the beginning of the year, in my opinion. Get a rival division game, third time facing each other. They get the Rams. I'll start this off. I think the Rams it's going to be too much for the Cardinals. Rams at home, McVay, Von Miller, Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp. It's going to be too much for the Cardinals. I think the Rams win it closer than people think. I'm going to say by it's going to be a really good game. I'm going to say by about a field goal, 3 to 4 points. Rams pull it out. Feeling.
Is this the first time Matthew Stafford's been in a playoff game?
No, I think he played
No, they lost.
a couple in Detroit.
They lost to the
Okay.
Cowboys on that
Yep.
controversial
Yep.
PI call,
Sure.
if you remember.
I don't know. I call him all the time, and Matthew Stafford. So I think I'm taking the Cardinals here on this one.
Okay, and let's go, Kurt.
I don't listen. I agree with Beelan with the Stafford thing. I mean, just don't get cute. What's his name? McVay. Run the ball. don't put the ball in his hands. But Arizona, listen, I saw them. They couldn't stop the Colts. Then last week, and this is what scares me about Dallas, because Dallas couldn't stop them, and Vance Joseph was shutting Dak Prescott down, had 3 turnovers in that game. So that would just frighten the hell out of me, because I watched them play Seattle on Sunday, and when it came down to Vance Joseph having to stop, they're down 7, they kick a field goal, it's down to 4. All they need is one stop. Second play, Rashard Penny. Boop! 70 yards against Vance Joseph.
Yeah.
No way, Arizona. No way. No way. No way.
Paul.
I think the Rams will win. I think it's going to be a fairly high-scoring game. But like you said, Kenny, I think it's going to be a fairly close game, 7 points or less, but the Rams come out on top.
And Sis, round us off.
Two things here. All season I've been looking at Paul, and I was trying to remember who he reminds me of. He reminds me of Dick Vermeil.
That's a good
God.
one.
Now, me and Kurt have talked about McVay from the Rams, and the only way that they'll lose that game, because I think they're the more talented team, player for player, if he chokes and he blows it, and there's a good chance of that happening. But I'll take the Rams.
Fair enough. Okay, let's move on now real quick. Let's do our AFC Championship and NFC Championship. I'll start with Kurt.
Ooh, can you come back to me for a second?
Yeah, I'll go by what I see on my screen. I'll go Paul.
Okay, so you want the AFC champion.
AFC champion and NFC champion.
Okay, well, at the beginning of the year when we had our NFL preview, I picked the Chiefs to represent the AFC and the Packers to represent the NFC. So I'm sticking with those 2 teams.
Fair enough. Beelan, you're next on my screen.
I'm going to co-sign Paul. Same thing right now.
And Kurt said to go back to him, so I'm going to go to Sis.
Green Bay Packers against the Bills.
Okay. And I'm going to go Chiefs, and I'm going to stick with the Rams. I think they're going to get hot here in the playoffs. I think the 49ers are going to beat the Cowboys, and then I'm calling it now, upset Green Bay next week. And then the Rams get them in the championship. So I'm just looking ahead. So I got Chiefs, Rams in the Super Bowl.
Does anybody give the Titans any
You know what, Paul? I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to switch my paper, and this is from our boy Neely. We're really saying Bills Rams. I'm doing this for my boy Neely. Because you know what? I don't trust Buffalo. They're going to get away from running the ball. Kansas City, you know what? They have to go to Tennessee, right? You got Julio, you got Brown, you got the big boys coming back. I'm going to take Tennessee, and in the NFC, how could you not look what you saw last year? You saw the defense just unbelievable. Went through Breeze, went through Rodgers, went through Mahomes. Tampa Bay, I'm going to take Tennessee, Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay, backed by the defense, is going to win it again.
That's great.
I'm going Tampa Bay.
Right.
And I'll come right back to you, Kurt. Who wins the Super Bowl?
Tampa Bay.
Paul, who wins the Super Bowl? Our early Super Bowl predictions.
The Green Bay Packers.
And Beelan,
let me just say, which will parlay Mr. Rogers' exit to a place in Colorado.
Green Bay, and he's staying there regardless if they win or lose.
I'm going to go Sean McVay and Odell Beckham and Matthew Stafford get that ring. But Cooper Kupp's the one who deserves it the most over there, and I think he's going to get it. So give me the Rams winning the Super Bowl. And Sis, who's your Super Bowl champ?
Yeah, I'm not perfect, but I'm going to stick my original pick all season. I said the Buffalo Bills, and I'm going to go with the Bills in the Super Bowl.
Awesome. All right, guys.
Sis has been on Buffalo from the get-go, Kenny.
Yeah, he has.
That concludes Wild Card Weekend and, some NFL talk. I want to move on to some of our segments now. I'm going to go to Rosen's Roundtable for the first segment of the night. Paul, the floor is yours.
Okay, thanks, Kenny. I'm going to throw in a question for Beelan since he's on also, but we'll go Kurt, Sis, Beelan, and Kenny. Okay. So Kurt, obviously, with the new, do you want a coach who's an offensive coach, or do you want a coach who's a defensive coach?
Honestly, I always I was saying I wanted an offensive coach, but now it really doesn't matter. I just want the best quote unquote head coach, but the key hire is who is going to be our offensive coordinator. So I really don't mind if it's a head coach, offense or defensive guy, but I want one of the Green Bay guys as my offensive coordinator. That's what
That's sort of the second part. If you could get Hackett, would he be your offensive coordinator?
Absolutely. And he can become a coordinator because I never really understood how the rules go, like with the lateral moves. But since he doesn't play, he's technically the offensive coordinator, but LaFleur is the play caller. So it is a jump. Like if they say, Denver says, Hackett, you're the offensive coordinator with play calling abilities, Green Bay cannot block him. Green Bay would have to make him the play caller, and Matt LaFleur is probably not going to give that up. So, yes, that's what LaFleur or their quarterback coach, his name's Getsy, and they are interviewing him.
Yeah.
One of those two I want as the coordinator.
Okay. That was actually a name on my list that I was going to bring up to you. So, yeah, good. Sis, so now that Joe Judge is gone, who would you like to see as the new head coach of the Giants?
Jim Caldwell.
Hey.
Players respect him. And again, from being a coach, Kurt was a coach. If your players respect you, okay, number one, they're going to run through a wall for you. And we haven't had that in a long time with the Giants, but I'm really hoping, again, that the Maras step back, they give Jim Caldwell a shot. Yep.
I know if Carson was here, he would probably sing his praises also. I think he was probably the last winning head coach of the Lions, which says a lot about the.
I'll tell you this, Paul. Peyton Manning would probably give him his approval.
Endorsement
with their relationship.
Real quick, Sis is gonna love this. Virilli first is saying the Bears need a new head coach and a GM ASAP, but then Virilli's saying this is just for Sis. He's saying he wants Jack Peavy as the Giant coach.
Oh boy. No, absolutely. He's busting chops. It's all good. Absolutely. Positively, Mr. Virilli. No comment.
By the way, Sis's profile picture on Facebook.
I saw it.
I heard.
Yeah.
The word is out that the running back is still feeling the pain from that hit.
Hey, don't laugh. That kid was an All-American, and I believe he had wasn't big, but he had a Philadelphia Eagle tryout. But
Nice.
that Merchant Marine Academy, Kings Point, up in Long Island, we never beat them, man. They were good.
Oh, wow.
And Virilli's saying, that's why I love you, Coach Sis, LOL.
Yeah, that's my boy right there. Yeah.
Okay, Kenny, do you want a veteran head coach with experience in the league, or say if the new GM came in, brought in his own rookie head coach, how would you feel about that?
Personally, I would want a veteran head coach, but I'm going to give this new GM every possible chance. Give him a 3-year window because of this mess that we're in. So if he wants to rebuild the proper way with a rookie head coach and a young team and rebuild, I'll be okay with that. But I would want a veteran coach. The last 3 coaches we had were rookie head coaches. Well, Shermer wasn't a rookie head coach, but McAdoo, he didn't really work out. And Joe Judge obviously didn't work out. So I don't want another rookie head coach. I want a veteran. And maybe that's why Doug Peterson's the favorite.
Yeah. No, the more we talk about it, I think there's got to be some stability with the background of the coach who comes in, especially as we've said about baseball managers. Coaching in New York is so totally different than any other city.
No doubt.
And I think someone, especially who's coached in a place like Philadelphia, it might lend to New York also. He can take some of the pressure that comes with coaching in the Northeast. Phelan, were you satisfied with the way the Jets season went in terms of your new head coach and quarterback?
Yeah, I didn't have high expectations, honestly. I had them in between 4 to 6 wins, and they got 4, which is fine. But I really just wanted to see progress from more of the offensive side with Wilson and Moore. And I think we found a stud in Elijah Moore. But I really think that next year, especially Michael Carter, I mean, this kid can ball out on the running side. He can easily be a 1K rusher next year, like no problem. But I'd love to see, besides the draft, I'd love to see the Jets try to do what they did back in like 2010, 2011 when they got Brandon Marshall and Decker and stuff like that. I want them to go after maybe like a Calvin Ridley, in a via trade, or go for like Chris Godwin or something like that. You need like a veteran playmaker for the team.
Godwin with his injury, he may not even be back next year, depending. But something like that, yeah. That's. I mean, you think about Carter and your guy Javonte Williams playing with North Carolina and what the they had. They were incredible sharing running back.
Paul, real quick, we got one question from Virilli. I want to do a rapid fire with you if you don't mind. Can I just ask this question real quick? Real quick, I'll start with you. Virilli has a good question. What city do you think is the hardest for a head football coach to coach in?
New York.
Without a doubt.
Sis, you say New York too?
Oh, absolutely. No question about it.
Kenny?
Yeah, but if I had to throw one out, I'm going to throw Virilli's Chicago Bears as a hard place.
Now, can I throw one out?
There.
I'm going to throw out Dallas because you got to deal with Mr. Jones.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah,
know?
See, you're saying because of Jerry Jones. I'm saying New York is because of the media.
Yeah,
the media is so strong in New York.
Exactly.
It's a wrap.
Great point, Mr. Beelan. Great point.
Point.
Good question, Virilli. Thank you.
All right, sorry about that, Paul.
No. It's a great question. We talk about it all the time.
Well, you got a couple more quick hitter ones for us? Then we go to Sis's mind, or we go right to Sis's mind? We could do either or.
I have a couple, but I'll save them.
Let's save them for we'll save them for next week, and we'll get to Sis's mind. So we get everybody.
That's not Paul.
Can't wait.
That's not Paul. That's Mr. Vermeil.
Oh, Mr. Vermeil. I'm sorry.
Let's go, Sis.
Right into what's on Sis's mind.
All right. Unfortunately, I was in the hospital with my best friend's buddy who had ALS, my friend Benny. We've been friends since we're 14. And we were watching Judge's interview on the television. Mark passed away 2 years ago, this coming February. God rest his soul. But I said to Mark, I turned to Mark, I said, just reading this guy's body language, like he's definitely not the answer to the New York Giants. Number two, he tried to come off, in my opinion now, like a tough guy. And that's not going to work when you're dealing with $1 million players. He had coaches like running laps when their defensive positions, whatever it was. He was trying to do things outside the box. And I've said this, and I'll take it to my grave. If you've never been an offensive coordinator, if you've never been a defensive coordinator, there is no way, again, Belichick trade, whatever. There's no way you can be a head coach because you were never involved. You were never involved making decisions. And the players on the Giants, again, my opinion, they had absolutely no respect for his system, and they had no respect for him as a coach because he's he wasn't, in my opinion, again, he wasn't a player's coach. He tried to be, again, repeat myself, he tried to be a tough guy, and that's not going to work with the New York Giants. Again, I repeated earlier tonight, I am so ecstatic because after Monday, I was talking with my sister, and I was going to the Denver Broncos. Believe it or not, I was going to start being a Bronco fan until they got rid of him yesterday. Belichick's assistants that have come off his tree, there's really not one that you can turn around and say this guy has been successful. You know, assistant coach wise, yeah, I think that happened. But as far as head coaches, think about it. There hasn't been one.
Sis, real quick, couple comments coming in from Virilli saying no respect from players, no chance for any coach, any team at any level. And Kenny, a good friend of ours, Dan Worley, saying, "What's up, peeps?" And we're gonna have some exciting info in the next couple of weeks.
Hey, Dan.
With Dan.
How's it going?
So
Thank you, Dan. Yeah, we're rolling on that, Dan.
So we got exciting news.
We got delayed, but I apologize about that. But I will explain to you off the air what's going on.
And one more comment on this situation. Says Joey Clams chiming in saying Joe Judge very immature.
Again, Kurt coached, I coached. Kurt had these type of players. I had these type of players. When the kids buy into what you're teaching them, okay, and that's a key word, teaching them. It was never about Kurt. It was never about me. It was about the kids. And when kids see that, they buy into it. And don't kid yourself. College level, pro level, it's the same thing. When they know you care about them, they're going to run through a wall for you. So, Joe Judge, and I'm going to end it with this. Again, nothing against his family, nothing against him personally. He couldn't coach a Pop Warner team. That's what I'm going to end with tonight.
Thank you, sis. That was well said.
Welcome.
That was what is on sis's mind. Kurt, I want to get into college football, but I got 5 stories that audience and you guys may have not been aware of this past week. So I'm going to read them off, and then I'm going to ask you guys a quick hitter question. Just one of you, because we're running out of time, so I want to do this segment really fast. So this is a Take 5 segment. I got 5 stories here in the past week that I saw on different sites and wasn't aware of some of these. Take 1, I got New York Yankees hire Rachel Balkovec, I think that's how you say her name, to manage their low A minor league affiliate team, making her the first female skipper in affiliated pro baseball. Balkovec, who joined the Yankees as a minor league hitting coach in November 2019, will lead the minor league Tampa Tarpons in 2022. My question, I'm going to go to Paul on this. Are we going to start seeing more females getting opportunities? This is low A. Are we going to start seeing double A, triple A, and eventually a manager, and in other sports as well, in basketball and other sports as well, in men's sports?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, who's the general manager for Miami? Kathy Ning, I think her name is.
Yep, I know. Yep. Marlins.
She's been
right,
there.
The Marlins, isn't it?
Marlins. She's been there a while now. So, I mean, you talk about progressive. Derek Jeter obviously has brought her in, and why shouldn't a female get every opportunity that a male gets if they're qualified, if they know the sport, and they have the respect, as Sis just said? Absolutely, there should be no reason why they should not be able to manage or coach in any sport.
Kenny, Dan's saying, I think there will be more women. Absolutely.
Definitely. Well said, Paul. Number 2 I have written down here. ESPN, this has to do with. Former Major League pitcher, and for us New York Yankee fans, yes, analyst. David Cohn is going to serve as Sunday night baseball analyst. A-Rod is going to lead a simulcast version similar to Manning and Manning with Michael Kay for 8 games during the season. I was going to ask Sis, but he walked away. Beelan, what's your thoughts on this?
A-Rod, we're talking about K-Rod being the Manning and Manning. These two guys are going to be – Michael Kay is going to start yelling every time a ball is thrown. And A-Rod is just drier than dry. Just terrible. That Sunday night cast is terrible. Who selected that?
It's for kids. The kids get excited.
David Cohn?
It's going to be on Sunday Night Baseball, not on the Manning and Manning type.
Yeah, but David Cohn?
He's good. He's good. He's a good color guy. I watch Yankee games. He's a good color guy. In my opinion. There's so
many people out there that
he's an analyst. He's an analytic.
The thing I agree with Beelan, though, is, listen, I think Cohn's good, too, but that's the national spotlight. I mean, ESPN Sunday night is the only game,
David Cohn.
That's, I don't know. That's a tough sell. That's
I'd
a tough sell.
I'd rather have Pedro Martinez.
Well, that would go well with Yankee fans. My take 3 is going to be for Sis.
But,
this is unfortunate.
But Kenny, hold on. Kenny, real quick. But how funny would that be? Michael Kay and Pedro Martinez?
Oh, that would be good.
That
would be like me and you, Beelan, doing a show, like a cowboy show.
That would be good. That would be good. Sis, take 3. This is unfortunate. Jameson Williams, star wide receiver for Alabama, tears his ACL. Doctors believe after surgery he will retain his 4.3 speed. Williams' season ended with 75 receptions, 1,507 yards, 15 touchdowns. He has not announced if he will enter the draft or come back for his senior year. Sis, your expert opinion as a coach, what advice would you give him? Should he come back for his senior year or should he enter the draft?
Come back to Bama, win a national championship, and be a number 1 draft pick. That's my opinion. Kid's dynamite. So is Mechie.
Yeah, no, I agree. Fortunate injury.
Yep.
In the championship game.
No
ACL.
doubt.
At least he has his senior year. At least he has his senior year.
Yep.
All right, quick on take 4, Kurt. I'm going to give you this one. Klay Thompson Friday night played in his first game alongside Steph Curry and Draymond Green since 2019. Are the Warriors now a legit contender in the Western Conference, or is it still too soon for them to be a contender after Klay's long layoff?
Well, I would definitely consider them a contender. They're probably the 2 best shooters in the NBA. They have championship pedigree. They've been there, done that. I don't know if they're the best team in the West. Phoenix is very good, very deep, but how could you not like your chances with those 2 guys in a 7-game series? I think they're right there. You still have a trade deadline. You're going to have buyout season, so you're going to be able to pick up somebody else. But yeah, I think they have a shot to get out of the West. Yeah.
Great. And I'm going to hold off on take 5. We'll do that one tomorrow. That's way too early college top 25 because we got about 15, 20 minutes left.
Did you guys see the thing today about if the Warriors could beat the 1997 Chicago Bulls with Jordan? Did anybody see that?
I did not see that.
They talked about that a while ago.
That's a total joke.
By the way, hold on real quick. You guys want to hear a crazy stat that I heard today?
Go ahead.
Stat of the day: Tom Brady has thrown more TD passes since turning 40 than Hall of Famer Troy Aikman did his whole career.
Wow!
Oh, I heard that. I saw
crazy.
That too.
Well, I didn't see that. That's awesome.
That's a little crazy stat.
Different eras, though.
Still, 4 years.
It doesn't matter.
Years.
That's crazy.
It's that time. I waited, Sis. I waited for a while to do this, but we got to bring up the college football championship. And
Kenny,
I unfortunately
You're not
No,
hurting my feelings.
no, I
Kenny.
know that,
Bring it
sis. I
up.
know that.
Bring it
I'm
up.
messing with you. I'm
Bring it
busting
up.
chops.
You don't need to be doing that. It's all good.
Kurt, I was at work, so I listened to the game. So I am going to pass it off to you to direct traffic here on the college football championship.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we said it. You guys laughed at me because you guys all picked Alabama, and I said Georgia's going to do what Georgia does. No, maybe Beelan did. Beelan did too. But listen, Georgia played Georgia's game. Georgia was up 10-0 in that first SEC championship game, and Alabama came back. It was 14-10, and Kirby Smart, and for whatever reason, Georgia got out of being Georgia. By the way, Dan's saying I picked Georgia to win. I believe they were hungry. You know, Georgia played Georgia football, right? They got out of that in the SEC championship. Stetson Bennett throwing it 40 times. That's not who Georgia is. Georgia's defense and run the ball. And what did they do on Monday night? First off, you watched Alabama 2 weeks ago play Cincinnati, right, the B team, and give up and have 306 rushing yards. This week, they had the 3-0, but that's it. They had 30 yards rushing. That Georgia defense was insane. And they ran the ball, play action. Benson Bennett hit a couple passes over the top, make a couple play, and that's winning. That's not only just Georgia football, that's championship football pedigree. Run the ball, play defense. They had no answer. Alabama couldn't run the ball, and when you can't run the ball in big playoff games, you're done. And Alabama was done. They didn't have Williams. It definitely hurt without Mechie, but Bryce Young was pressured all night, making bad throws. It's not that he's bad. He's the best college football player. But you know what? When you can't run the ball and the defense can just tee off on you, you're not going to win. Hats off to Georgia. Hey, Saban's still the better coach. Bryce Young is the better quarterback, but Georgia's the better overall team. Run the ball, play defense. Beelan, you're going to learn. You're learning a little because I heard you say Buffalo. Run, run, run. Dan's saying defense wins championships, and it does. It never gets old. Defense wins championships. Georgia was the best defense in football. It's why they're the national champions.
Kurt, direct traffic. Who you want to talk about it?
Well, we'll get Sis last. We'll let Sis talk last. But let's
like
go
I said, I listened to it.
Okay.
So I talked to Sis a little bit, but it was hard for me at work, unfortunate. So skip me, go to the other
All right,
guys.
we'll go to Paul.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I certainly agree with you, Kurt. They played a great game. They made the adjustments when they needed to. They held Alabama. Even when Alabama drove down the field, they held them to field goals as opposed to touchdowns. So they kept themselves in the game until the fourth quarter. And that's when the tide changed, no pun intended. And they started making the plays and Alabama wasn't. The defense rose up. They had a sense that, yeah, hey, we have an opportunity here. And they took advantage of it. That kid played an unbelievable game at quarterback. All hats off to that kid. I mean, from where he came from and what he did, amazing job. But the whole defense rose up. They stopped Alabama. Granted, the kid got injured on Alabama, the receiver. But you know what? It's supposed to be next man up. They couldn't fill his shoes. They made the plays against Young when they needed to, and they won the championship. It was a great showing by them. They proved that they were the number one team basically the whole year until the championship in the SEC. And they came back and wound up winning the championship. So, you know what? You have to tip your hat to them. They played a great game and certainly deserve being the national champions.
Beelan.
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. I mean, I think, honestly, my opinion more came down to, and I spoke to Kenny about this a bunch of times, and I've seen this throughout the year. I think the biggest difference was the Georgia's defensive line putting pressure on Bryce Young, because I remember seeing this during the year, and they showed it I think maybe 2 weeks prior to the SEC championship. But when he has happy feet, he has no clue what to do. He runs, he throws the ball in the dirt. It's he's not that type of mobile throwing quarterback.
So basically, he's Lamar Jackson. Beelan is what you're saying.
No, he's a legit. No, he's gonna be a stud in the NFL. It's just that, but his first reaction is to stay in the pocket. That's his first thing. And then if he needs to go, he goes, But I think that defensive line was the biggest thing to happen in that game. I don't think it was the bigger plays. I think it was just putting that pressure on they only had to rush 3 or 4 the whole game, and this is what happened with the Cincinnati game. Like me and Sis were saying, like, they didn't have to rush anybody, Once you get that pressure in with 3-4 people, you got 8 other guys behind you, 70 other guys. So,
But you know what, though, Beelan? I will say this, though. Them stopping the run, when you stop the run, and now you could just tell your defense, tee off on them. They're not going to throw. They couldn't run. They ran I think Alabama was 28 carries for 30 yards.
Well, my thing was too. It's like the game was so close, and they kept throwing the ball. Like, I didn't know what Bill O'Brien was thinking. Like, why didn't you just try to run the ball? It's not like you were down 2 scores in the third quarter. Like, you were right there. Like, why are you? Young threw like 56 times. Like,
right.
That's crazy, but it happens, and it happened. Somebody else said it too. I was listening to it. They said it's hard enough to beat a good team once,
yes,
and it's harder to beat the same team twice. And and unfortunately, it wasn't Bama's night, and that's it. But again, Saban's the number 1 guy. They're the number 1 team next year, and it's crazy, but.
And Mr. Siciliano, the final word on the national championship game.
Yeah, again, just a coaching point. Again, we both coached. Okay, you got a back that had over 200 yards, excuse me, against Cincinnati. You're in the red zone. Why are you throwing the ball? Why don't you try to run the ball down the throat to get in the end zone? That's just me. This guy O'Brien, in my opinion, I hope he goes to the Panthers or he's
Jaguars,
Jaguars,
whatever.
You were never high on him, sis. You were never high on him.
I said when he got hired, just like Judge, terrible. Get rid of him, whatever. No excuses. Again, I said it earlier. Give Georgia the credit. We had a couple of people hurt. It's all good. Again, I'm not mad. We got 7 national championships, my friend. I'm done talking.
There you go. Mr. Kirkpatrick, anything on that?
No, I texted Sis 3 things. I said, Sis, I wished him good luck before the game. I said, I'm at work. I said, I won't bother you until the end of the game. Well, I lied. I texted him at half because, like I said, I was listening to the game. And for those who don't know, I work in a hospital, so I couldn't listen to the whole game. I was in and out between patients and missed some bits and pieces. So
you mean the championship game wasn't more important than the?
Yeah. No. So I texted Sis at halftime. I said, Sis, I lied, but I need 3 things. 1, great game so far. 2, Williams' status. And then 3 was an opinion I had. I said, I think whoever runs the ball better in the second half is going to win the game. And Sis, said, he goes, Williams is out. You got to have the next man up mentality. But there's nobody replacing Williams. We all saw that.
Again, the problem with the next man up mentality, those kids didn't have the experience. And I will say that. I will say that. In a spotlight game like that, national championship, that's a lot to ask for a freshman. You better believe it is.
So, hats off for them to be as competitive as they were in that game without their top 2 wide receivers. So,
real quick, Dan Worley saying, have a great night, guys. I have a Zoom I have to jump on. Talk to you soon. Great show.
Dan, definitely will be in touch. We appreciate everything, Dan.
And Virilli saying he's laughing at Sis's comment, I'm done talking, LOL.
Again, that's in Bennett. Great game. Will he ever be playing the pros? No. He'll be like Fromm.
Okay, real quick. My last thing, though, real quick, because I had a nice lengthy talk with Joey Clams today about this, and this is where I want to go after Kenny.
Sorry to hear that.
I want to go after Kenny a little bit on this. Okay.
Go ahead. Well, let me ask you a question off script real quick. Since we're doing Wits and Wagers tomorrow with Joey Clams and we don't have Carson, do we want to hold off on Bronco Mania for tomorrow?
Yeah, we can hold off tomorrow. That's fine. Well, that's fine. Okay. But I want to come at Kenny because...
Sure.
Okay. Hands down, there's nobody on this panel that can honestly say with a straight face, Georgia and Alabama were not, are not, and were not the best 2 teams in college football all year, right? Everybody agrees to that.
100%.
So now,
Thank you.
Kenny,
Thank you.
Kenny, you said whether it was the loss to Auburn that Alabama could have and should have had, or a loss to a loss to Georgia in the SEC championship game that would give Alabama 2 losses. There's no way that team should have been in the playoff. They're not going in with 2 losses. Now, I don't know how you can say that with a straight face because you watch them play the so-called number 4 team and get absolutely woodshed, destroy, and just push over the little guys. They beat the national champion Georgia 41-13 or whatever that was. So you're still going to say, going back, if they had 2 losses, you're not putting the far and away second best team in the country in the college football playoff?
Nope. Because the way you want to do it is then that you have to put Clemson in there and Ohio State in there because they were the preseason top 4. And those are the preseason best.
But what
14
preseason?
stuff.
You saw what Alabama did to Cincinnati. They beat up on Georgia the first time. Who's better than them? How could the second best team in the playoff not get into the playoff?
If you lose to a 6-7 team and you have 2 losses, you don't deserve to be there.
So it's not the best 4 teams then, is what you're saying. You have to be saying it's not the 4. Alabama's the second best team in the country. We just all agreed to it. So you're not going to take the second
Were
best
the Dodgers on the baseball? Were the Dodgers the best team in baseball last year?
Yes.
Were they in the World Series?
Yeah,
Braves.
They're still a better team. Dodgers are still the best team.
And were they in the World Series?
No.
So you just want to put them in the World Series is what you're saying.
No, but they played. They got knocked out. Atlanta beat them. But they beat them. But I'm saying you can't tell me they're the second best team, but they don't belong in the playoff because that's what you and Joey Klims are doing. Cincinnati, like the little snake, snuck in because they lost 2. They're not the top 4. Never were the top 4.
I got news for you. They're moving to the Big 12, but early 2020, early preseason rankings. The team that beat the Auburn Tigers are ranked number 13 next year.
We'll see.
But they're in the Big 12 next year.
We'll see. Right. They ain't going 14-1 in the Big 12, I can promise.
No, I agree.
I
agree.
That ain't happening.
Listen, I agree that Georgia and Alabama are the best teams. I agree.
Kurt, you're right.
But
They're not going 14-1. They're going 15-0.
Yeah.
But Kurt,
Okay.
the problem here's the problem I have. You want to take Cincinnati out of the equation, small school? Let's do it. Okay, let's do it. I'll take them out of the equation. But a 2-loss Alabama, Notre Dame, you want to take them out of the equation? Do it because they don't play in a conference.
Okay, I'm going to say.
But you can't put Alabama in over a 1-loss Oklahoma State or
Okay, I'm going to say this one more time. Last thing, okay? Say I'm a boxer, all right? And you 4 guys are the 4 best boxers. No, seriously. You 4 guys are the 4 best boxers in the world.
That one. Sis ran on it.
Okay. Wait. But all seriousness, right?
Were you fighting Pee-wees?
Say us 5, me, Paul, Kenny, Beelan, and Sis are the best boxers in the world, okay? So I beat Paul, I beat Kenny, Sis beats me, Beelan beats me. Jen is boxing, and Jen beats 5 nobodies. Kenny, you're just saying Jen's better than Kurt because Kurt's 3-2. No, I just fought the 4 best fighters in the world. I'm gonna lose to somebody. I'm gonna lose, right?
I get what you're saying, Kurt, but if you're going to do that, then I don't care what the record is. You got to put A&M in there over Alabama.
Well, you watched Alabama. If you did, I guess this is my question. I'll end it with this. After you saw what they did to Cincinnati, what they did to Georgia the first time, if you sat there now and I said, Kenny, you're on the panel. You didn't put Alabama in the playoffs because they had 2 losses. Would you go and say, that was a mistake? Because there was a mistake if you didn't put them in. They're the second best team. They're the second, maybe the best with Mechie and Williams. But you don't want to put them in.
That's why you got to go to at least 6 teams.
3, 9, 7,
But are
Because
you still didn't answer the question? Is Alabama, if Alabama lost to Auburn or Georgia the first time, are they still one of the four best
if
teams in the
Alabama
country?
lost to Auburn, they are not a top 4 team.
3-3-0-1.
They're not. How can you say they're a top 4 team when they lost to an Auburn team who has 7 losses?
Because Auburn, Auburn, A&M, Florida, they're so much better than anybody they're so much better than anybody Oklahoma State played.
You want to say they're better than that? Yes, but then then you know what? Then they're better than Alabama too because they beat Alabama.
Well,
and A&M beat Alabama.
Well, I know this.
So A&M is better than Alabama.
Well, I know this, and this will be my last thing. I know Georgia. I know Florida. Florida played Alabama. Alabama didn't have 300 yards rushing. Alabama didn't have 300 yards rushing against Auburn. Alabama had against LSU. That's totally different competition. Those teams are so much better than anybody in that American conference.
Well, you know what? I'm glad you brought this up. And guys, I apologize. I'm taking all the talk away from you guys. But here's my thing, Beelan. You're going to like this. Okay? Again, those AAC teams, and I'm going to name one. Houston beat Auburn. How many guys were out for Auburn?
In a meaningless game.
About 7. Right. And you know what? Houston's top defensive guy opted out as well, Kurt. So you know what? It was JV against JV. And you know what?
No, it wasn't JV versus JV.
Those 5-star recruits on JV for Auburn should beat the 3-star recruits
Kenny, you might
on
just
Houston.
have to mute Sis. I'm hearing echo from Sis's thing, so you might just have to mute Sis.
But they didn't, Beelan. They didn't beat Houston. Well, you know what? UCF did as well. UCF opted a bunch of guys out too, Kurt. So it's not just the SEC guys opting out, Kurt.
All right. AAC teams were like 5-3, I think, against.
Here's my last question, I promise you, and I'll get the final thoughts. I'm going to ask Paul first. And this is where I want Joey Clams to be honest tomorrow, but he won't. Okay? If you took a tournament, you took a tournament team, you want 16 teams in the playoffs, right? We're not even going to include Alabama and Georgia because they would win their bracket. But if you took 16 teams, you're going to add, I'm just throwing some teams in, Cincinnati, Notre Dame, Oklahoma State, Baylor, Auburn, A&M. I'll even throw in Houston, Iowa State, Clemson, Oklahoma. If you put them in a 16-team bracket, because 2 teams are already in, right? So Alabama and Georgia, we're saying, are in. So out of those 16 teams, Cincinnati's not going to be the 1 or 2 left. I'm saying no way Cincinnati's not going to be one or the 2 teams left. Paul, do you think Cincinnati will be Cincinnati will be one of those 2 coming out of that 16-team bracket?
No way. Not at all.
Sis, do you think Cincinnati would come out of that bracket as 1 or 2?
Not in a million years, and you'll never see another non-conference team or whatever you want to talk about ever make the top 4. It'll never happen.
Beelan was Cincinnati.
If Kenny ever mutes me again, I'll come to Maryland and I'll choke you with my bare hands.
Well, then you know what, Sis? You got to have to choke Kurt because if you listen to it, Kurt said you got to mute Sis because I can't hear him. So guess what?
Virilli's
you got to have to choke Kurt as well.
Don't ever push it on my boy.
Real quick.
Listen to the show, my friend.
I did, Sis. I did because I was hearing echo. Okay, Beelan's saying not.
I know you are. I know.
Virilli's saying that's not possible. So Cincinnati will not be one of the 2. Beelan, will Cincinnati be one of those 2 coming out of that bracket?
No, of course not. That's not. It's not. This is like, to me, it's a useless argument.
Well, Kenny, are you going to have Kenny? You have to say Cincinnati's coming out of that bracket, right?
Why would I say they're coming out of the bracket?
Well, so they wouldn't come out of the 2. Then why are they in the playoff?
Why is Michigan in the playoff?
Michigan might come out of that bracket.
They got
Ohio
blown
State
out to Georgia, but we always bring up Cincinnati. Cincinnati didn't belong there, but Michigan got destroyed by Georgia. Destroyed. The game was over in the first quarter.
Yeah. The best 2
and you
teams
know what?
in football.
I'm going to bring up one more game now. You got me all fired up with this opt-out in meaningful games. Tennessee, Purdue. Karlaftis and the receiver for Purdue sat out. And who won that game? Purdue, Beelan.
He's still
Purdue
going
beat
on.
Tennessee.
He's still going on these meaningless bowl games, Paul. He's
Meaningless
still going on
only
these
for the
meaningless.
SEC. That's what drives me crazy.
No, it's meaningless for everybody.
Okay, then how come Ohio? Then how come Baylor and Ole Miss didn't opt anybody out?
Kenny,
If it's meaningless games.
Kenny, let me ask you something.
Corral had an unfortunate injury. But how come they didn't opt anybody
Who's
out?
a better football team and a better football program, Kansas State or LSU?
Kansas State.
Listen, LSU had about 28 guys.
They did, though.
28.
I mean, they had a better year.
Who's the better football? If they're all together and everyone plays, LSU beats
You're
them
talking
by 3
about
touchdowns.
who's the better.
Listen, I'm giving you LSU. I'm giving you LSU.
Kurt's talking about who's the better program, not who's the better football team. Better football team was Kansas State.
Well, I
who's
saw.
better program,
Well, I saw
LSU.
I saw really saying LSU. I saw LSU lose to Alabama this year, 20-13. I don't think Kansas State's going to lose 20-13 to Alabama. Kansas State, I think, lost to they had 7 conference losses. Come on, no. I'll argue you can't count those games, Kenny. Those games are meaningless. They're like preseason games. That everybody opts out. Everybody good opts out.
It's only meaningless for SEC though. That's what you're driving me crazy.
Well, because all the talent's in the SEC.
It's not meaningless for Purdue, who opted their guys out, who are in their first bowl game in 10 years. It's not meaningless for Houston, who set their best guy, who's going to be in the draft in the first round, their best defender. He opted out.
Kenny.
It's not meaningless for them.
Kenny.
It's only meaningless for the SEC.
I'll give you credit. Ole Miss, Matt Corral did play. And
I'll give Ole Miss and Baylor all the credit.
Right, I do. But here's the thing. They played with a backup quarterback, and Baylor barely beat him with a backup quarterback.
Kurt, Kansas State, they lost 4 times this year.
To who?
To Baylor by 7.
Okay.
Baylor by 7. Texas by 4. They lost by 4. They lost to Oklahoma by 6, okay? And Oklahoma State, who's also ranked, by 8. So you're talking about 4 ranked teams. 4 ranked teams.
All right, I'll give them credit.
By 20 points or less.
But LSU at full strength at the beginning of the year would beat them.
I'm just saying that teams like this is where these programs start turning around.
I get your arguments about the 4 best. I do. But you can't tell me, and that's how I end my closing thoughts. Notre Dame, Oklahoma State, Ole Miss, all would have lost that game to Alabama by at least 17 to 20 points.
But Kenny, the game wasn't competitive. Me and Paul were talking about last week. They ran 10 plays like Pee Wee runs right at them, and they couldn't stop them for 8 yards a carry.
I get that.
Come on.
Totally dominated.
That's
them.
a thing. Dominant. Don't look at the scoreboard. They listen. They could have won that game. They just ran it. Ask Sis as a coach. That's the worst feeling. It's the most disrespectful when a team's just going to run at you and you're giving up 6 to 8 yards. You just don't belong on the field with the team.
All joking aside, to change it real quick, Jameson Williams getting hurt, you may start seeing your star players opting out now in playoff games now as well. Just saying. I just say it may come down to that.
Well,
unfortunately.
You know what he should do? James Williams should do is somewhat. I heard this today. Declare for the draft, right? But put out very bad PR for yourself where he's not going to look good. And then after the draft's done, go get signed by a team because you have more flexibility where you can actually go back to school if you want to because you weren't drafted. So now you can be in the NFL or you actually can go back to school if you wanted to and do it that way because if he goes in now, he's probably not going to be like probably he might be like a 3rd round, 4th round pick. Somebody might take a flyer on him.
Well, you know what, John? If I'm the Jets, and I'm sitting there and I know I'm not going to be in the Super Bowl next year, and he's sitting there in the third round, I'm scooping him up.
Guys, I'm sorry, Paul. Go ahead.
I was going to say that's what the Cowboys did with Jalen Smith.
Yep.
He got injured in the Fiesta Bowl. He would have been easily a top 10 pick.
Yep.
Dallas waited until the second round took him, and for at least a few years became a pretty good player.
A few years back, Willis McGahee.
I got one more comment, but I gotta say this. I gotta break some news, Kenny. Can I give you a homework assignment tonight? I'm just looking.
Sure,
I'm
Kurt.
looking at
Sure.
Sis. I'm looking at Sis right now, right in my screen, and he's got the hat and the glasses. I
Looks
swear
like
to
Joey
God,
Clams.
no, I swear to God, Beelan, he looks like Bill O'Brien. If you
Oh
look at
my
him right
God.
now, doesn't he look like Bill O'Brien?
It does.
Right?
The next
With the glasses.
Giants.
He's gonna love that one.
No, but real
Next
quick,
Giants head coach.
I want to ask Sis this question because I heard this today. And you talk about Kenny about opting out and stuff like this, but how crazy is this? They said if they were draft eligible, Bryce Young would go number 1 next year, and the kid Anderson, is that his name?
Yeah.
Sis? Would go
Will
number
Anderson.
2. So
Yeah.
why go back to Alabama? They can't
Yeah.
get any better than 1-2. So
Yeah.
they would go now 1-2.
Mhm.
Why not sit out? Seriously. They can only go down.
He risking getting injuries.
Yeah, I heard that, Kurt. Also.
When you think of it, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
And it's Beelan's point last week. He said, "Why wouldn't you opt out in the champ? Why are you opting out in the bowl
But
game?"
that's one
and
game.
not
Next year,
before
these
that?
guys got to play 14 games. He would be
Yeah,
the number
play-
1 pick right
play-
now, Bryce Young.
Play,
Well, they
play
started
3 or 4
they
games
started
and
doing
opt out.
that. They started doing that in high school. Some kids, like these top
Yeah.
picks in high school,
Yep.
they don't even play their senior year, so they can go play at Florida or
Yep.
I'm like
Ima-
yeah, you're
imagine
probably
when-
you're a red shirt for 4 years. Like relax.
Imagine when Eli and Peyton's nephew comes out,
Arch.
Arch Manning. What the hell is that kid gonna go through?
Oh my God.
I wouldn't even go to college.
Right, that's my point.
I mean, you know what? He might want to go just for the experience, Beelan, but then, like you're saying, one and done. It's just crazy when you think of, that's why when these people are, I want a first round quarterback this year. Bryce Young is far and away better than anybody that's going to be on there. That's risking it. But we went over a little. Let's get the final thoughts. Beelan, you start us off.
Nothing crazy. NFL playoffs coming this week. Happy. Gonna lay down some good money from the Georgia Bama game. Thanks, sis.
I thought you lost on the over and the under. You told me.
No, I took the under.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I took the under. I didn't parlay them. I took them separate though, which was I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but
All good.
no, but all jokes aside, no, great year for college football. Football starting, basketball still getting into the little group, brewing up right now. And baseball is only 2.5 months away. So, can't wait for that to start. Hopefully the lockout stops somewhere soon. I don't know, but but other than that, cheers, fellas.
All right, Mr.
Cheers.
Beelan. Mr. Rosen.
Echoing Beelan's comments, the weekend should be great. It's always great to see that first wild card weekend, and I think there should be some really interesting games. Hopefully, they all live up to the expectation that we want them to be, and it'll be a fun weekend.
All right, I'll go next. I'll echo you guys, Beelan and Paul. Excited for playoff football. Wish my team was there. But getting on that kick, listen, I'm just super fired up. Elway, listen, I love him. Hey, I would love to have an ownership group by Elway, but I want Peyton Manning, man. I mean, people are just like, they're just going to flock. And if I can get an off season of having Peyton Manning as my owner / president of operations, and he brings in Mr. Rogers as the quarterback, let's friggin' go, Beelan. I'll use your words. I mean, I'm so pumped up for this offseason. $50 million, tons of draft picks, tons of talent on this team. We just got to get the right coach, of course, the right quarterback, and we're ready to go. Go ahead, Paul.
Quick question, Kurt. Is there a time frame where they're looking to vote to bring in the ownership?
They said like they could have it was weird. They said like they could have like behind the scene like handshakes and like they kind of know where they're going to do it, but I said there's not going to be like finalized until like at least early May, but possibly till like September, October, but they're going to kind of know like of who it's going to be.
All right.
So, Mr.
So
Sis,
like
I'm sorry, Paul.
No, I'm just sort of like the new name of the Washington football team that no
Yeah,
one
right.
knows.
Mr. Sis, your final thoughts.
Enjoy the weekend playoffs, except for Kurt, Kenny, Beelan, Paul. Tomorrow I will delete you all off of Facebook. We will no longer be friends.
I love you too, sis.
It was nice knowing all of you.
I'm reporting sis right now.
No, in all honesty, no, seriously, enjoy the games because you're going to see some upsets that are going to blow you out of the water because it happens every year.
And Virilli's saying he made the cut. He didn't get cut off your list, so he's happy about that, sis. And Mr. Kirkpatrick, take us away, my friend.
Echo everybody about this weekend. I will say this, here's a song about Joe Judge. I'm so and the Giants off season. I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. Let's go. We're gonna have some fun this off season, and no matter who we bring in, I truly believe, not just the coach, not just the GM. I think Daniel Jones is going to, at the very least, going to have some competition at quarterback this year. But I want to wait on our off-season head coaching search talk. Let's get our GM first, and then we'll have fun with the coaching.
All right. On that note, boys.
Tomorrow, Wits and Wagers.
Yes, we'll do our picks.
And we'll do some Bronco Mania, and we'll do Black Monday, Tuesday. We'll talk about the coaches that got fired.
Sound good.
We'll see everything.